Brahma built a universe of perfect, unbroken silence. But to make his creation function, he had to give birth to a monster. The first sound in the new world was not a word of power, it was a howl. It rose from the torn flesh between the Creator's eyes. The blue figure that crawled from Brahma did not look like the unmoving suns who sat upon the lotus. This new god trembled. He was the fury of a creator made flesh, but he was more than rage. He was weeping. His cry was the friction of absolute power grinding against the emptiness of the void. As the blue god howled, the black ocean began to thrash. The golden lotus shuddered. The air tasted of iron and blood. Brahma watched his universe begin to crack. He had wanted suns to multiply and build. He had demanded obedience. Instead, his deep frustration had curdled into a living fury and torn its way into the world. "Stop," Brahma commanded. His voice was the shifting of mountains, but it was drowned out by the newborn god. The destroyer had no use for silence. He clawed at his own throat. He tore at the empty space around him. The sheer weight of his grief shook the roots of the new world. If the cry did not cease, the fragile edges of creation would be ground into dust before a single mortal drew breath. Brahma realized his error. You cannot command a fire not to burn. You cannot order a wound not to bleed. "Why do you weep?" Brahma asked. The anger in his four minds had been burned away by sheer panic. The blue god stopped. His eyes locked onto his creator. "I weep because I am nothing," the god said. His voice was the sound of a forest turning to ash. "I have been pulled into the light, but I have no name. I have no place. I have no domain. I am a hunger with nothing to eat. Give me a name, or I will consume this silence." This was not a choice. It was a ransom demanded by the dark. Brahma understood the threat. The entity before him was too heavy. If left without shape, its raw existence would act as a poison, unraveling the bindings of the new world. "You shall be called Rudra," Brahma declared. "The howler, the one who weeps." The name was spoken. It carried the weight of divine law. But the blue god did not calm down. He threw back his head, and his howling grew louder. The ocean boiled harder. "One name is not enough to hold me," Rudra screamed. "I am too heavy for one word. If I remain one, the sheer force of my grief will collapse this space. You must give me more. I need places to stand. I need domains to rule." The Creator looked at the howling god and understood the terrible price of existence. To build a world, space must be cleared. Death was not a mistake. It was the only soil where life could take root. Brahma yielded. He surrendered to the dark to save the light. "You will not be one," Brahma said, his four heads speaking in unison. "You will be 11. In an instant, the single, suffocating presence of the blue god shattered. The weeping entity fractured into 11 distinct forms. The Ekadash Rudras. The force of the howl was divided. The unbearable pressure suddenly lessened. The black ocean stopped boiling. The 11 Rudras stood before the Creator. They were terrible to look upon. They held the weapons of the storm and the tools of the slaughterhouse, but they were no longer a single world-ending terror. The fury had been scattered. Brahma then assigned them their domains. He gave them the places where they would live, weaving the law of ruin directly into the foundations of the earth. "You will dwell in the howling wind," Brahma decreed. "You will dwell in the raging fire. You will dwell in the scorching sun." He paused. The final domains were the most cruel. "You will dwell in the life breath of every creature, and you will dwell in the heart." It carried the illusion of a victory for the Creator. He had subdued the anomaly. He had contained the fire, but it was a false victory. By giving the 11 Rudras dominion over the wind, the fire, and the sun, Brahma ensured that the natural world would always hold the promise of sudden ruin. The earth would never be entirely safe. And by placing Rudra into the life breath and the heart, Brahma sealed a darker fate. He guaranteed that every human, every beast, Every living thing that would walk the earth would carry a fragment of the destroyer inside them. The grief of the blue god was now embedded in the human chest. The tears that almost drowned the universe were now the sorrow that every mortal would eventually feel. The perfect silence of the void was gone forever. Life would be permitted to grow, but only because death had already been buried in its roots. The altar finally had its fire, and it was hungry. The new world is a trap waiting for its first victims. Next, creation demands structure, lineage, and ritual. But the one who brings order to this dangerous world will also bring absolute pride. To witness what happens when the first mortals step into a trap they cannot see, subscribe, and keep the fire burning.